I want them dead presidents. I want them pull up, head spin. Get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs. I don't get tired. I don't get tired.
All right, guys, what is up? We are back 1 week post show, so I'm going to kind of fill you in on everything that's going on, break everything down, where my head's at, what we're looking to do. So we're going to be taking advantage of the rebound here. Basically, I'm going to go through a health phase over the next 8 weeks. 3 more weeks, I'm going to get my blood work done, make sure everything's good. Everything's come down, so nothing is in play right now. Okay, I'm not going to go too much into the anabolics just because I don't want that to be based around this, but everything has come down. Right now, we're using food to drive progress up. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on in this rebound phase. Is each week I'm going to try and show my check-ins. What I'll do is I'll actually show you my last check-ins because we did just get our first bump in food. So what I'll do is I'll have Aaron put them like there, something like that, and then make kind of like a, I don't know, maybe something to show you as to when you should bump food, decrease cardio, because at the end of the day, you want to start pulling stressors down and increasing food. And as you do that, you'll start to feel back out. In this phase, there's a lot of people who, there's 2 schools of thoughts. They like to use anabolic super supplements to push up. I personally don't like that, especially if you've been like me. I was on prep for at least 6 months. So that's a long time. I just want to get healthy, feel normal, let my body feel good, and give it a break. So what I'm going to actually do is no anabolics, and we're going to take and we're going to use food to be the main driver of progress. And then everything comes back good, we're healthy. We'll go into that next part of the progression season. But right now, you've been so depleted for an extended period of time, your body should just soak up all those nutrients. So what we're really gonna be aiming to do is just slowly bring down stressors, bring down cardio, which I really wasn't doing too much cardio. I only did 30 minutes a day on the bike. So it's, you know, at that point, ideally, I do like to keep some sort of cardio in the off season regardless because of general heart health. So you'll notice for me, all my clients, even Aaron behind the camera, I have them doing some sort of cardio. We've seen the benefits of heart health and getting your heart range up to 140 to 170. You know, there's tons of studies. It shows the benefits of what it can do. Also being able to recover during, you know, sets. Unless you're Hunter Labrada or something like that, where you just weigh 280 pounds and you can't get more food down, to keep up with doing a little bit of cardio, I would suggest it, okay? So I'm gonna keep about 3 to 4 days a week, 20 minutes of cardio, challenge myself, and it also is gonna help with digestion and being able to drive progress up within food. So the goal over the course of the next 8 weeks, once we get food to a good spot, I would like to start doing super saturation days. So I'll cover that in the next part, but you guys will be seeing Andrea's super saturation day by the time this video comes out. In terms of training, the main thing right now is food is still relatively low just because you don't want to spike food too quick and then put on a ton of body fat. So in terms of training, I'm doing a very high frequency but a very low volume in terms of sets. So basically it will look like pull, which is going to have, you know, all back and then rear delts. Then I'll have a push day, a leg day, and then an arm day, and then rest. And then I'm going to go into a pull B day, push B day, and an arm day touching up on hamstrings. The primary reason behind that is my whole focus this off season, progression season, I hate the word off season, is to focus on bringing up my posterior chain. So the area that I need to improve the most is back. So that's why it's coming each time after a rest day. The body should be fully recovered, fully rested, and then based off of that, I'll probably even have a cheat meal the night before so all those nutrients are digested and can be pushed into the muscle in that training session. So that's how we're gonna do it. Everything's really low. You're gonna notice with the training session today, there's no intensifiers, there's no drop sets, nothing like that. I'm establishing baselines. So when you're starting a training program, starting anything, especially at a rebound phase, less is more, okay? So if you start with like, I wanna do a high frequency, high training, high volume program, there's no room to drive progress up. So if you start really high, let's just say 6 days a week, where do you drive progress from that? Because you can't go to 7 days a week. We all know we're not growing in the gym. Same thing with intensifiers. So I want just straight working sets. I should be able to progress within that. And then once I get out of this health phase, I'll have plenty of room to be able to drive progress up. I can add working sets, add intensifiers, add more frequency. I actually did structure this program so that at a certain point I'll be able to add in a stiff leg deadlift to be able to potentially hit back 3 times a week. Right now it's gonna be looking at back every 4 to 5 days, which is really great. I was only doing a body part split before, so this is a little bit more tailored to me. When you're structuring your training, those are things you need to take into consideration, how far apart the days are, where your food is, where super supplements are, because you need to think you can only grow from what you can recover from. So if you're just asking so much demands, which is what I see a lot, people are like, oh, I want to bring up my back, right? So I'm just going to start banging back every other day. Well, let's say stressors are high at work, sleep is crap, and your food is low. Where are you going to recover? Let's get started with this workout. Okay guys, exercise 1, we're gonna do 2 sets of flies here. I'm gonna kind of go a little bit more informative with this because people are so focused on slamming this together. Let me show you something. When you're doing a pec fly, this is the shortened range of motion right here. Look at this, my pec is contracting, okay? So just because I crunch my hands and bring them together, doesn't mean my pec is working. All that's happening is I'm using my scapula and rolling my shoulders in. We're not looking to hug trees here, okay? I can do this right now and there's no chest activation. So when you're going here, first is the setup. So the first thing we want to see is a nice high chest, arms out. In the stretch position, you can have a slight bend. And then here, you want to take and fly and slam your bicep into the pec. Okay, this right here, my chest is contracted fully. So you can do a slight bend in the stretch. You don't want to put too much stress on that front delt. And then, boom. That's the fully, so look at this. All shoulders, I can do this all day, nothing. Here, chest is contracted. Bicep to pec, that's all we're thinking of. So just because you do this does not mean your chest is contracting. You don't need to bring your hands together, you don't need to touch. Now I really like this one because what I'll actually do at the top, once I get in that fixed position, is kind of come up and squeeze at the top. So when I go into the next movement, then I can really focus on just hammering that upper chest. So it's basically, it's kind of a working set, but it's also kind of an activation. So I'm gonna work up here, 2 working sets, 15 to 20. Again, no intensifiers. Just really get the chest nice and pumped up, activate it, shoulders loosened up, and allow everything to move. So when I move into that next exercise, we're fully activated.
Damn, this beat is crazy. Who made, oh, I did. Let me just update. I've been balancing my chakras in the mountains out in Utah. I know I'm the greatest, that's the energy I move off. I don't even gotta play the game like Lou All to still get paid more than you all. I might buy a new loft just to entertain hoes. I rarely fuck with white chicks, but shout out to the Wayne's bros. Every woman's beautiful, I'm just giving personal stats. A real boss, I fund it from my personal stash. I'ma touch 100 million by 35. And next year I'm going platinum like 30 times. And if my 20s told me anything, what? Is stay away from people who put money over everything. That's a liability. Me and Doubt severed the ties. I be talking to myself to get expert advice. Can't be
So something I wanted to comment on, I forgot to say in there, is the reason I have a push session A and a push session B, they're actually completely different. My goal over this next series, the progression season, is to have Aaron show the different workouts. And the main reason behind that is if you're hitting a workout every 4 to 5 days and you're really focused on progressive overload like I am, it's going to be very, very hard to actually continue to beat the logbook every time. So the setup is pretty much the same for every one of those days. The pull day, the push day, the arm day, starting with a lengthening position, getting into a shortening position, and then filling the blood with the muscle with blood. Oh, geez. But yeah, so that's the primary reason. So you'll notice on the other push day, next time that goes up, it's a completely different workout, but with the main focus still being upper chest. That's the area I need help in. And you know, people get so focused on like, well, you need to hit lower chest. 90% of the time, with an incline, any pressing movement, you're still gonna hit lower chest. So you're still gonna get activation there. I don't think I've ever seen anyone who can incline press a significant amount of weight who doesn't have a lower chest. However, I have seen a significant amount of people who can flat press a significant amount of weight and have no shelf. So I don't do flat pressing very often. And I would say I have pretty nice boobs, but I'll let you guys comment and let me know. But that's the primary reason there. I'm gonna go ahead and flip on my Apple Watch. Something I actually have all my clients do is flip on to functional training. This allows me to stay off of my phone unless I'm just using it for music. And I actually like to turn off the service on my phone and just let it go through Apple Music, because I'm sure we've all been there. If I get into my phone, replying to emails, questionnaires, check-ins, training videos, I have ADHD, so it's just I'm not gonna be present here. So I try to stay off my phone, just let it put on a good playlist. I have a ton of playlists saved depending on the mood, and I'll use this for my rest periods. Rest periods vary, but the biggest thing being I want to see my heart rate coming down. So that's why I'll use that more than anything. But we're going to get on to set 2 here. Again, this is my first actual time going through this rotation, and the primary reason is like I'm not looking to really just like drive a ton of, let's say, like stressors today, but really just get baseline numbers that are close to failure, and I can drive progress up over, you know, the next, I got 52 weeks. So it's hard to pull back, but I'm not pulling back too much. So the intensity is still gonna be there. There's just no drop sets or things. Again, stretch.
Stuck in the past and put my heart in the trance. When I
Fully
stumble, I'm
contracted
aware
back.
that's just part of the dance. Prosperity, that's the clear visual, right? Now my girl taps into a spiritual side.
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
the GOAT. I give people hope.
Got a nice
I make
pump.
people feel like the
Chest
rich
is
when they're
definitely
broke.
activated,
I'm slitting
so
rappers'
we're gonna
throats.
go over here
Kill
to the
'em
next
all, fuck 'em.
exercise.
If you don't show love till I'm dead, you getting jumped, and I'll be cheering them on for my casket.
For anyone wondering what I'm doing here, just setting up a reverse band. May be able to pull a little bit more slack out of this. You don't need it extremely tight at the top, but you do want to have basically the slack out of the band. And the main reason I'm doing this is to set the profile up to be more beneficial towards me, which is the hardest part, being here at the top in the contracted position. So that means the band here at the stretch, where you're most vulnerable to get hurt, that's, you know, 90% of the time where you see people get hurt, they tear things, bicep tendons, whatever. Yeah, that should be good. You'll notice that's the stretch position, okay? So this is gonna actually help me out of the hole, but then tension's gonna come off at the top here, you can see, and it's going to make it so that I can overload the contracted position. So if you look at this, okay, you can see that band's not helping too much, all right? And then what's gonna happen is as I explode up to the top, there's no help at all. And that's the main focus, is to really be able to overload the muscle in the shortened position, which again, bicep into pec, all right? So if you don't have this, use the Prime incline press. you can buy this thing for like, I think it was like $25 on Amazon. It's just for rock climbing. And then I like the Elite FTS bands. Luckily, the shop here is awesome and they provide them for you. I have one, but Andrea left it at a show. So not have, had, actually past tense. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, get some feelers out on this, make sure the setup's good, and we'll get the ball rolling. So one thing I get asked a lot about, especially for my clients, is like how many warm-ups you should do. Here's the best way to think of it. If you're doing 15-pound lateral raises, you probably don't need 5 warm-ups. But as the loads get bigger, especially on compound movements, that's what you need to pay attention to. So you'll notice I'm probably gonna take 3 or 4 warm-up sets here because the load that I'm gonna use is gonna be significant. And the goal is to not use as little energy as possible to get the muscle warm, but also get it stimulated and used to the maximal load that we can for that given rep range. So I'm working up to a rep range here of 8 to 10. And that's gonna be my baseline for this progression starting point, and I'll work it out of there.
Haven't seen a rapper who's talk shit that we gave a pass yet. Access, I still got the same as the major labels. They wait.
Aaron completely forgot to do it, so we'll run through really quick. Fit of the day. New Raw shirt. Got the Eric Emanuel shorts on. Tried not to overdo the orange. And then shattered backboards on. The originals. Not the version 3, because I personally hate that like glossy, you know, it's just not my style. Would I get them? Yes. There's also a million other shoes I would buy before that, in my personal opinion. If you got them, I'm not hating, because not a lot of people even know what shattered backboards are. And then of course, Supps of the day. Raw intra, 1/4 tablespoon of sea salt, raw pump, and raw EAs. All lemon lime flavored, so you can stack it. And that's the key there, because personally, when I'm in prep, I don't mind things being too sweet, but right now, literally yesterday was my cheat day. I had 4 homemade cupcakes, double patty burger with bacon, lettuce, tomato, cheese, avocado, egg, mushrooms, and peppers on it. Large side of curly fries. Then I had 2 sushi rolls, 2 pints of ice cream, 2 cookies from Kai Kai's Cookies in Canada. And then I finished the night with a bag of Sour Patch strips, the one from Max Tuning, and a couple other gummies. So the pump should be good today. And maybe next time what I'll do, when Aaron's not busy, I'll have him record one of my cheat meals for you guys, because I know you're all fascinated with the amount of crap that I eat. And we'll actually flip the camera around and I'm gonna force feed him too.
Ain't a rapper who's talk shit
So
that we gave a pass yet. Access, I still got the same as the major labels. They wait till you got a table, then they take the table. Through the speakers, I give life to the dreamer, so it's deeper. I don't got fans, I got believers. Put my face on a t-shirt. I ain't even dead yet. Just made 100,000, I ain't even leave my bed yet. Nothing went right, so I went left. To myself, I said yes. A B is in my head and my head rests. Women fall in love with me. Bosses know what's up with me. You don't gotta fuck with me, I fuck with me. Luckily, I'm free, regardless if they mass hated. Unlike most of these rappers who economically are castrated. Cause y'all don't own your music, y'all don't have a fucking voice. Till the promoter hides y'all are unemployed. Living check to check, that can never be me. Like Hope said, own your own and you can never be free. Stupid, the level up is what y'all currently watching. Y'all are regional, me, I been currency swapping. Y'all are seasonal, me, bitch, I'm currently popping. I got the power, so you know at times the journey's exhausting. My bank account's a fat bastard. I'm a member of some golden platinum plaques. I ain't lying, Matt Stafford, the bag snatcher, last laugher, ass slapper. Pressed a couple whack rappers. This game is full of backstabbers, not back scratchers. When my back hits, I had to use the wall and bounce back after. Riding in the ghost ass Casper. Model giving throat, she don't got a gas factor. The gas that I own.
This working set's gonna be 6 to 8. If I count it right, I got 6, which is the bottom end of the rep range. The goal is gonna be over the next however many weeks to progress that outside of the rep range. Once I get outside of that 8, then I'm gonna add 2.5 pounds on each side. Such a small, minute change, my body won't even notice it, but it's still a big enough change to be a novel stimulus, meaning something new, and force growth. And you just keep repeating that process. We're gonna do a back off set now. I always tell everyone, because everyone's in that school of top set, back off set here. The back off set is to aim to be 5 reps better than that working set there. So reduce the load anywhere 15 to 30%. Hit another working set, aim to be 5 reps better. So I'm gonna pull down to 3 plates per side here. And I got 6. So I'd like to be somewhere in that, 13 rep range. And same thing, 12 to 14. Once I progress it out of there, we'll repeat that process. All right, so we're done with chest. And as you can see, got 4 better. I think that was 10, I don't know, I can't count. Not a good Asian, but we're gonna move on to shoulders now. And that's the thing I was telling you guys about. When you have a high frequency program, can't be high volume. So today I did a total of 4 working sets. 4 days from now, I'm gonna do another 4 working sets. That's 8 working sets over the course of a week, which is, I don't know if you guys saw my stories, during prep, I was doing 4 working sets once a week. So I literally just doubled the volume. So this is a huge change. So I gotta pay attention to recovery here. That's the other reason I don't have any intensifiers or things like that in right now. But we're gonna strip this down, move on to some laterals. All right, so I'm not a big fan of saying that certain exercises need to be performed. I even tell this to my clients, like there's a million different ways to do incline press and get your upper chest. So just because you don't feel the hammer incline or the Smith machine, do whatever you feel best. But I will say, in terms of being able to hit the lateral delt and have tension the entire motion, I would say this is probably one of the best exercises, primarily because you can see the cables here. It's gonna keep that tension the entire time. So the cues here are not actually trying to get out, but more, you're trying to make a J with your hands. So you're gonna push your hands down into the ground and then lift out. So it's not, people get focused on just trying to get the weight out, and then before they realize it, they're like this, and all you're getting is trap. The other reason I'm doing this before my next pressing movement, I wanna be wider. So the main focus from this off season in terms of push movements and delts, not only is upper chest, which will target some front delt, the lateral delt. The more lateral delt that you have, the more taper you're gonna have, the wider you're gonna appear. So we're gonna do 2 working sets here. For you.
Whole grass pasture. My story isn't finished. This is not the last chapter.
You can see my hands are slightly
too short, though. You got a bad password.
down.
The devil's in disguise. Can't use your eyes to unmask.
And that's because of the way the shoulder actually works. But you can see right here, the tension is still pulling on that front delt, even at the bottom, whereas with a dumbbell, the resistance is gonna come off. So same thing, I used to have a chest day, then I'd have a delt day. And so now I'm literally just doubling the volume within a condensed period. So I'm doing the same amount of working sets here as I was with my previous shoulder day, but it's twice a week now. As opposed to doing one delt day, I have 2 push days where, you know, so if you think of it this way, pull, push, legs, arms, rest, pull, push. So push, legs, arms, rest, pull, push. That's right there, 5 days before I'll hit my next push day. So you can't have too much volume in that time or you're not gonna be able to recover before you go again. So what you're gonna do is keep the intensity high and the amount of work low. So this is actually supposed to be my final warm-up there, but when I went to take it, I could feel it was gonna be enough for a working set. So that's actually my first working set. I like to keep the reps a little bit higher on the smaller muscle groups, especially delts. When you start progressing the load too much, people just start swinging that weight up to get up there. And think of how small your lateral delt is. It's just no benefit. You're gonna get, you know, movement from swinging, so you turn it into hips, get your traps in there, and just other muscles take over the movement, so it's not beneficial. Keep the reps higher, somewhere in that 15 to 20 rep range. Rest periods can be shorter, and just pump blood into there. That's the primary thing. So fourth movement is prime shoulder press here. I don't think there's a better piece that you could use because with the way that the pegs are set up here, you can overload the positions. So example, this is the mid-range, so the tension's the same throughout. If I put the weight down at the bottom, it's harder to start, but lets off at, no, it's easier to start, but gets harder in the contraction. And then if you put it at the top here, it's hard at the initial position, but then the weight goes back and the tension lets off in the contraction position. So we'll take advantage of that today. For my back off set, you'll notice the load won't change. What will actually change is the position of where I load the weight. If you don't have this piece of equipment, join the shop. If you're not in Virginia, still join the shop, you know. But no, seriously, hammer strength is good here. Just make sure it's the unilateral one, or you can use this Cybex one. That's really good. The only downside about that one is it is pin loaded. So you kind of have like a tap out there unless you have a gym pin as to how much weight you can put on it. But all three of these pieces feel great. This is just my personal preference. And I'm gonna run this one into the ground until, you know, hopefully I don't have to change it out. But if I do, I'll move to one of those pieces next. Come on. Let's go. Lock the fucking, come on.
Is you a friend or foe? Nigga, you ain't know. They got me stretched out on death row. I seen money
from my best numbers, but that was a full fucking set in there. So, I'm not gonna actually change the weight. We're just gonna move some from here to the top there. And like I said, it will let off at the hardest point, which is the contraction there, which you saw me grind out for 5 seconds. And that's the benefit of this machine.
My shit be popping out the record store as if it was a drug house. My lyrics bang like a crib of blood. Nigga, what? It ain't nothing but a party when we thug. And there I was, a young nigga with heart. Ain't had shit to lose. Pulling my pistol on them fools. You know the rules. DRE, you got me eat it. My words like a penitentiary dick. Hitting bitches where it's most needed. Money and weed. Alizé and Hennessy. To my thug niggas in lockdown, witness me. Bail on these hoes and floss mode. The life of a boss player. Fuck what you thought though. My enemies deceased. Die like a bitch when my album hit the streets. Niggas can't see me.
Alright, so didn't quite hit the rep range I would have wanted to there. I'm working a little bit quicker because the guy behind the camera's got to get going here. So we're done there. I got 2 metabolic pump rounds. Quick overview of metabolic pump rounds. Basically, just to pump more blood in those muscles without taxing them, which will aid in recovery because you're forcing blood into those areas. To 1, you are going to break down tissue, but 2, we know that blood flow helps with recovery. So, you know, if you look at like Hani, he has his FST7 sets and things like that. Joe Bennett's a big proprietor of this. John Meadows. And basically it's after the muscle's taxed. You want to just force more blood into it in as short of a time as possible, as quickly as possible. So we're gonna do some stretch push-ups into the lateral drop set. And I'll cover that real quick for you guys. All right, so mechanical drop set. You're just gonna wrap the band here around your back. I got this bench here to elevate my feet, and we're gonna go real quick. Drop the band, and then go again. Okay. Now we're gonna touch delts up. So, same thing. We're gonna overload the delt in the shortened position. Then 4 reps there, if I could breathe. Once you can't go there, then we overload the bottom position. And so you'd rest about 60 seconds, let your heart rate come back down and do it again. But I would say pretty juicy. Food's definitely going to work.